Males of Reddit, when was the last time you cried and why? About 2 years ago, just after my grandma died. She was a nasty woman for pretty much her whole life, and by the end, she was completely alone because no one wanted to be around her. I didn't cry at her funeral and didn't even feel sad. My dad posted a photo of her when she was my age, late 20s, and I just lost it. Seeing that she was once pretty and happy and knowing what she would become was just too sad. I sobbed for about 3 hours and then I finally had to call my best friend so he could help me calm down. I'm always so afraid that as I get older the more numb and jaded I'll become until I forget what it's like to empathize with other people. Just a hard husk of my former self drudging through life. I see it now and then, and it terrifies me, but sometimes I'm too tired to be scared, too empty to feel the fear, so I just let myself go and let the old husk do the talking. Last night, GF of 5 years left me on Sunday and was already dating somebody else 10 minutes after she dumped me. I haven't been taking it so well. Thanks everyone, I really appreciate all the kind words. What I did to make myself feel somewhat better is to start exercising, lifting, and make new friends who can help you out to meet other people and such. Godspeed my man. When I came to the realization that my mom was really dead and would not come back, the fact that one of my nightmares literally has come true is still a hard pill to take. I still can't believe my mom's gone. Often I feel like, but I don't. But the last time was as my last GF was honest enough to tell me that she drunkenly slept with my best friend. Lost 2 people that day. That's tough, man. Hang in there. I filed for divorce after catching my wife cheating, and she ran away with my children and claimed I beat her and raped the children. I couldn't see or speak with them for 2 weeks. When my dad died in January, sobbed like a freaking baby. I'm sorry. Last time I cried was a couple weeks before I put my childhood dog down. He was getting old, and the past couple months he was having trouble standing or even getting up. Most of the time he would just lie on the floor wagging his tail because that was all he ever wanted. But the last time I cried, he was on the floor, his breathing was labored, he looked like he was in pain, and he was wagging his tail. I sat down and started scratching his neck. I could tell that he was really getting to the end. Heck, I thought he was gonna die that night, and I didn't want him to die alone if he was going. The last time I cried, I slept on the floor holding him and bawling my eyes out, trying somehow to communicate to this old dog that I didn't care one bit if he couldn't stand up anymore. That I was never really angry the time he took an entire rack of ribs from our table just to get our attention and say hi. I had to somehow convey that seeing him looking at us innocently with meat and bone in his mouth was so astonishing, because he could have ran away and ate the entire thing but he didn't. He stood there for a minute looking at us, until we noticed him and he dropped the meat and walked right over the ribs with a wagging tail to lick our faces. That night I had to find a way to convey to this wonderful, graying dog that he was always gonna be the best puppy in the world to me. Miss your bud. Last time I cried was reading this post. I'm sorry for your loss. Couple hours ago, telling my grandmother what my former stepdaughter said when asked what she wanted for Christmas. I wasn't there, but all she wanted was her family to be together. 6-year-old shouldn't have to ask for things like that. It shouldn't be a present. Frick man, kids shouldn't have to deal with this. My 5-year-old cousin once broke down crying because she was scared of her or her dad dying. It's hard stuff for a little kid. I'm a single dad trying my best to give my 2-year-old son everything I possibly can since the divorce. I feel like I've failed him most of the time. But yesterday we spent all day together playing, and when he was starting to fall asleep I put him to bed, tucked him in, and kissed him on the forehead. He smiled with his eyes closed and said something I've never heard him say before. Happy. I've never been brought to tears so quickly in my life. I know everything will be okay because of him. Jesus freaking Christ, this post actually sent warmth throughout my entire body. My god, I'm on the brink of crying right now, and I've never even had sex, let alone a child. If I wasn't so poor I'd give you gold. Last night, when I proposed to my girlfriend, I couldn't help it. July 2013. My wife's best friend went in for a pretty routine day surgery. She had a massive allergic reaction to one of the 4 drugs used to put her under. The doctor told us she was with a severely reduced amount of oxygen for a time of between 5 and 20 minutes and he didn't know if she would be brain dead or not. I'm pretty calm and cool in crisis. 4 years as an EMT, 4 as a cop. I walked in the room and lost it seeing her tubed and out. It makes my eyes water pretty bad to this day thinking about it. Luckily, blood had continued to flow and get to her brain, so she survived with no ill physical effects. We're expecting our first child next month. I could feel my heartbeat get faster as I was reading your post. Thank goodness she's okay. I can't imagine losing my best friend so, and congrats on becoming a father. I'll hope for a swift and easy delivery. I got out of the military shortly after getting home from Afghanistan. Something people, including myself at the time, don't realize is that up close fireworks sound exactly the same as an RPG firing. I moved to Ottawa shortly before Canada Day, and basically spent the whole day and night curled up under my bed, crying, because I couldn't get the sounds to stop. For me it was just the stark realization that I would never see my army family again. It really sucks when you're in it, but afterwards you realize that you spend more time with those men than you had with any other person. Those guys became more than just guys, they were brothers and family. This morning, then previously the night before, I've been crying at least once a day every day since my fiancée left me. Everyone tells me it gets easier. I picked up new hobbies, got new friends, got a raise at work, been going to the gym. I still cry every day and miss her and want only her. It hurts just as much now. It's been about 5 months. My best friend and girlfriend of 7 years left me yesterday. I met her in freshman year of high school, and we grew up together. She told me she didn't love me anymore. I wish you the best. 3 weeks ago, spent a night drinking with some friends, one of whom I have very strong feelings for. She doesn't exactly return them. It was hard just being in the same room, so I left early and had a mini breakdown in my car. Yesterday, my partner died 4 months ago, and surprisingly life has been hard since. I was with some friends yesterday, 2 sets of couples. I had a nice time, but being with 2 happy, loving couples was tough. I see them often. This time it just got to me, and I went into the toilet for a cry. I can't do anything but wishing you a brighter future. Things will never be the same, but that doesn't mean they won't become good. You can do this. I am really lonely and I tend to cry most nights when I get in bed and realize that I am alone, and I think that I am always going to be sleeping alone. I cried like the most cheesy Hollywood film when I found my cat dead outside, proper falling onto my knees and wailing and cursing at the gods. He had been poorly and I had booked an appointment to the vets. He was not very mobile, but he liked to sit on a car roof and he was doing that, so I left him to it. I checked in regularly, including one big nose rub session, and telling him I loved him and I would make sure he was okay. He was there all day till the final check, 30 minutes before his appointment. I looked everywhere but couldn't find him. I looked all night, calling and shouting, but no luck. In the morning I opened the door. Nope. I saw a rustling under our outdoor table cover, so thought, aha, the little crap is hiding under there, but nope. I turned around and saw him lying on his side. Jake was all I could whimper. I ran over and that was it. All sorts of crying and cursing. I live next to a primary school, so I can only imagine what they must have thought had happened. I knew he was gone instantly. I had to pick his stiff cold little body up and he wouldn't fit in the cat carrier. All I had was a box I slid him into. He was as cold as the stone he had lain on, presumably all night. He was a great cat, always loved to stretch up my leg, and only mine, to get me to bend over for nose rubs. He even left his claws retracted if I was wearing shorts. I miss you, Jake. You had a good 10 years left in you and I feel cheated you're gone. I could cry now about it. I don't believe in heaven, but if there is one, you'll be there waiting for me. That was about a year ago. I don't mind crying at all, but I think that was actually the last proper time, not just a tear in the eye. I've got to say I rarely cry. Most of the time I just get pee and go running. However, the last time I cried was because I just couldn't handle the whirly crap wind of my life. Rough day at my job. Girlfriend was pee and brought up breaking up. Gained weight when I thought I lost, and my grandma was getting read her last rites that day. I felt like I had no one. I went out, got a glass of whiskey while listening to the Wonder Years, Greatest Generation, and then sat on my porch and cried because I couldn't find anything great about things at that moment. Emotionally, I was just told. These are the worst, where it's not one big thing weighing on you, but a bunch of little things and you realize you just can't handle it anymore. It sucks. I'd say about 3 years ago when my grandpa died. It was mainly guilt. I was alone with him when he died, and even though the paramedics said there was nothing I could have done, I still sort of wonder. Before that was 2 years prior, 5 years ago, when my mom died. Again, I was alone with her when it happened. Sort of a similar story there. Before that, I don't really remember. My mom dying was the first time I cried in years. I can't help it. I tried to cry the other day to release some frustration about a project, but I couldn't do it. This is so interesting to me, that guys want to cry sometimes, but literally can't. As a girl, I cry all the time, and I always wondered why girls cried more than guys. I thought maybe they just wanted to look tough. But evidently it's not because they don't want to cry, it's that somehow biologically, it's hard for them to do so. I wonder why the different genders would have evolved this way. About 3 weeks ago, visiting my alcoholic mother in the house I grew up in, seeing the state of both of them and knowing there's nothing I can do, I'm honestly not sure I ever want to go back after that. Last time was when my girlfriend was telling me about the people in her past who've hurt her or taken advantage of her. I eat up and always got teary-eyed in these typical faith in humanity restored situations. When they showed Mission Control breaking out in celebrations during the touchdown of Rosetta, all these people from different countries which were at war with each other not that long ago. These are the moments where I am sure, at least for a couple of minutes, that humanity is bound for greatness. I guess it was a couple months after my mom died from her 5 years battle with cancer. That was the last time I cried. Dang you, cancer. Miss you, mom. My cat never came home a few weeks ago. I consider myself manly, and a man who cannot cry after their kitty disappears is a coward. Monday, my ex came to mine to pick up some of her stuff. After she left, it hit me how much I still loved her, and the next thing I knew I had tears rolling down my cheeks. Anytime I see a child abuse awareness commercial, especially where the young boy gets slammed against the refrigerator, being severely abused through my childhood, that scene brought back memories of my piece of crap father slamming my head against the refrigerator. Over Thanksgiving, when my parents' older gay couple friends came over, I'm gay and dang did they make the future look bleak. One guy seemed to have been disrespectful and demanding mixed up with humor, and the other couldn't go 5 minutes without bringing up how much they hate kids. I got very drunk and basically cried myself to sleep, scared I would one day turn into them. Then I woke up and came to my senses. I've come realize probably the only times I've cried as an adult has been when I'm drunk. Thank God it's always been in private. Well, I guess not anymore. They just sounds like buttholes who happen to be gay. Last week I was transferring old photos and found some photos of me and my ex. It brought back a lot of memories and I lost it for a bit. Not properly cried, but I welled up a little when I said goodbye to my friends from uni. I've gone from living with them to seeing them once every 2 or 3 months. I have a crap job and not the most brilliant social life at home. I've only got a couple of friends here at the moment, so if neither of them can meet up, I'm a bit stuck for things to do, and I usually end up looking for jobs in my spare time as it is. It's left me feeling a bit knackered, and I often forget how to switch off and have some time to relax. Being with my uni friends helps me to do this, and seeing them instantly cheers me up. Just that saying goodbye to them makes me realize that that chapter of my life is over, and whilst I remain blessed to have them in my life, it's a struggle to move on with life. Well, it's not a struggle, in the fact I'm trying as hard as I can to get into a career I know I'll enjoy. It's a struggle being in this purgatory that has left my life pretty dull and frustrating at the moment. I know how you feel. It gets better. You have to put effort into making new friends, even if part of you wants to resist. I just want my old friends who I get along with perfectly and have so much in common with. Another thing, it doesn't happen nearly as quick as it does in university. Parts of life seem to move a lot slower in the real world. I went to a funeral of a man I never met before yesterday. He died suddenly of cancer. I learned a whole man's life in 2 hours. Such a beloved member of the community. I cried when people were telling stories of him. During my junior year of college, I went biking out at 1 AM in the morning because I wanted to take some night photography. I lived in a coastal town. Got ambushed while I biked up a dark hill by 6 guys who wanted my crap. I should have given them my stuff, but my aunt who was into photography gave me that camera before she passed away. Anyway, I got pummeled to a bloody pulp and they stole my cell phone and drove off. I biked to the nearest payphone and called the police. Ambulance came and patched me up best they could because I declined going to the hospital. I had no money at the time and chose to live in the bad part of town to save money. Officer drove me home and I just cried my swollen face to sleep because I felt it was pathetic I couldn't protect myself. I was really afraid to go outside for the longest time because I felt everyone around was out to get me. After a month of avoiding the outside, I decided I couldn't live in fear anymore and took a loan out so I could attend self-defense classes. I went religiously and felt a little more confident, safer in the end. Now I just box as a hobby. TLDR. Lived in bad part of town and decided it was a good idea to go biking at night. Got jumped and beat up all over. Cried myself to sleep and became a little bee for the longest time. It's not a big thing like a death. But after a while of hanging out with my friend and his friends, I told him I really like your friends and he said, oh come on, they are your friends too. For someone who grew up struggling to make friends even at 20, I cried. I cry dang near every night. No really, every time the sun goes down all my troubles and panics flock at me all at once and I just burst like a glass soda bottle that's been left in a freezer for too long. When my mom figured out that I smoked weed, she looked me in the eyes and said how disappointed she was, then she started crying. I began to cry like a baby. My dad found my weed too this week and also cried. He said he wasn't mad but just heartbroken. I know, it really took a toll on me. Last night, because I know that the probability of committing suicide is very high if my back injury doesn't go away soon. Lifting weights is what gets me out of bed in the morning and I've worked too dang hard for that part of my life to be lost due to one day with bad form. Had to give my friend all my knives and handguns so that I don't do anything stupid that I would regret later. Right now, the only thing keeping me going is knowing I still have to prove a lot of people wrong. My eyes water up a lot, but I don't count that. The last time I sobbed was a few weeks before I left for college. I had asked my dad if I could take my stepbrother's amp for my guitar because he never uses it. He blew it off at first but I pushed a little farther. Eventually he got really pissed telling me that I had a whole load of tuition money coming in, and complaining about what others take for granted is selfish and greedy. He was right, and I knew it. This is also during a time where I was trying to stay on my dad's good side, show him I have some responsibility, and he was right in sending me to college. After hearing this I knew that I had failed. I remember staring him in the eyes standing about 4 feet in front of him saying, I'm sorry, you're right. At first it came out clear, but then I uncontrollably became more and more hysterical as I repeated it. I say uncontrollably because I really did not want to cry. Even in hindsight this wasn't something I thought I would cry about. It really was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of the bottled up emotions. Anyways, he started crying hysterically too and we had a great father-son moment that I desperately needed and it changed my life because of it. Throwaway. I have been in recovery from alcohol for over a year and things have been going relatively well, except I have been so terribly lonely and missing female companionship. Last night a girl had me over and things went really well. We talked and laughed at each other and watched some movies on Netflix. To my delight things got hot and heavy and she went and got a condom, and for the life of me I couldn't keep an erection once I tried to put it on instant limp. I was so terribly embarrassed I got dressed and left saying I was very sorry and felt terrible for letting her down. I got to my parking lot and just cried, prayed, and was wondering what the frick I was doing with me life and why things just can't work out. I was expecting some sort of life-changing epiphany, but nothing came to me. When I went inside, of course I jerked off with this massive erection. Went to bed and dreamed I had relapsed and woke up feeling miserable and hungover. Today I went to the gym trying to scrape up any leftover self-esteem I could possibly have left. About to go into work with zero sleep. I work third shift, and I feel absolutely miserable. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.